Good evening, everyone. Welcome along to the VCO Esports Studio. My name is Ben Constanduros, and as you'd have just seen, it says 8 o'clock, but we're a little later this evening because we're very, very happy to have partnered up with rFactor 2 and their GT Pro series to bring you the winner's interview right here on the studio show. So without further ado, we welcome Hany Alsabti to our studio for this evening, who is fresh from the Sebring circuit, having taken the victory in the feature race. Hany, must be very satisfying considering difficulties in the sprint race.
Yeah, very happy with the win. It wasn't as expected. I was behind my teammates, and suddenly I was in P1, and the only thing I had to do is maintain the gap to P2 and finish the race, basically.
So this is the second season of the GT Pro series on rFactor 2. We do speak a lot about iRacing on here, but we're switching our attentions to the rFactor 2 platform. And what effectively, Hany, is really the kind of the world championship of rFactor, really, isn't it? The competition is that high in the GT Pro series.
Yeah, very, very tough. I mean, everyone on the grid is really quick. I even had a dream about not making it into the server on time. That's how tough it is to be at the front here. I mean, you gotta bring your A game. Otherwise, there is no way to win it.
And when does this kind of? I know you guys do quite a lot of different competitions on rFactor 2, from 6 hour, 12 hour, 24 hours, and then sprint series as well. When did the preparation start for the beginning of season 2, and just how much preparation and practice is there to get dialed in?
Pretty much 1 week before the race. We do a lot of race stints to see the pace, to check the setup. And 2 days before the race, we practice quali only and try to challenge each other, because four of us are all four really quick. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Driving for R8G, Roman Grosjean's team. How important is it to have a team of people around you helping get the best out of the car?
Very important. I mean, we have Hany Alsabti, which is an alien, like a beast of the beasts, and he sets the benchmark pretty much, and we try to come close to it, and that's how we perform.
And is there team orders? Is there a pecking order if Yuri or Erhan came up behind you? Is there people that you have to let past, or others that you don't?
No team orders. The only agreement we have is don't hit each other. Give each other the space at the beginning, and if somebody makes a big mistake, then you can overtake. But no punting off, and no team orders.
I think what was interesting for me this evening was in comparison to some of the other platforms that we see out there, and I'm sure you guys were watching as well this evening, you are able to do a bit of rubbing in rFactor 2, and it doesn't seem to punish you like it would on other platforms.
I think rFactor 2 has the best netcode from every sim, and you can lean on each other without spinning off or whatever. So the netcode is really, really, I would say, really good. And the damage we have is not that big, so we can rub without the damage affecting our speed. So yeah.
And therefore, it suits these kind of sprint races that we have in these GT cars. Just a 15-minute first race, sprint race. How was that for you?
That was really stressful, because the thing is, you can give the guy ahead of you a bit of room, but the guy behind you is gonna go for a dive bomb. And I almost took out my own teammate by defending, because I was afraid of being overtaken, and I went too deep and almost took out Yuri. That was in the main race. But the sprint race, yeah, I mean, I had a contact with a guy, and we almost lost it. So I'm lucky to finish P7 and start from P3 in the main race, or P4 was it? So yeah.
And presumably, staying inside that top 10 is so vital to be able to pick up 2 decent point scores across the evening.
Yeah, you can win the championship by qualifying in the top 10 every race. Yeah.
So going into the main race then, I think you've already kind of alluded to it, starting pretty high up, but it wasn't a lights to flag for you at all.
No, I had an agreement with Yuri and Risto. Risto was behind me, and Yuri was in the front. And the goal was to give each other a bit of space so Yuri can attack the guys ahead, and Risto can defend from the guy behind us. And if somebody makes a mistake, then yeah, you go for it. And yeah, that's what happened. That's how I gained actually 2 or 3 positions. And yeah, yeah.
Really interesting to hear the kind of team tactics, and I think we saw it with Risto holding up Nikodem Rizneski, who was the race 1 winner for quite a while, to allow Yuyovsky to eventually pass and finish in P4. So I think in terms of points, only doing the maths off the top of my head, with a P2 and a P4, Yuyovsky leads the championship. But we'll have that confirmed. Check out all of the social channels. That will be confirmed over the next couple of hours as we get all the press releases out here from VCO. But Hany Alsabti takes the feature race win, and that's why we're talking to him just now. It's also a great excuse, really, whilst we've got you online, just to talk generally about sim racing and how you ended up getting involved, Hany.
Well, for me, it's a long time ago. I started with Gran Turismo on the console, PS3, okay. I think. And yeah, from there on, I set a course, rFactor 2, a bit of iRacing, and once you're good at it, you get into a team like as a hobby. And then we got recruited by AAA Esports. And when Roman Grosjean started his own esport team, we got recruited from AAA into Roman Grosjean. So yeah.
And yeah. How much of a relationship does the team have with Roma?
Well, really good connect. I mean, we talk daily to Roman. Cool. I was surprised how active he is and how much he loves sim racing. He himself does a lot of iRacing, but I mean, he watches our races, watches the streams, and he's really involved in it. He wants us to perform. I mean, all the equipment we get from him, it's like, yeah, really, really good. Yeah, I'm really thankful to Roman Grosjean.
Amazing. He's not very good, though, is he? I think I've seen him doing a couple of races, and he seems to be pretty bad.
Nah, I think he's doing pretty well in iRacing. iRacing is hard to manage, and for a real driver who has, I mean, never driven in a sim, he's doing pretty well. I hope he will do some rFactor 2 races in the future, but who knows? But yeah.
He would have been a nice addition to the 24-hour virtual grid, wouldn't he, on your team? Instead, he sort of took the team manager role and watched a little bit. I say that, Roman, if you are watching, I don't mean any insult by that. I know you only live half an hour away, so like, please don't come and hurt me.
I think Jameson Button is going to race in Split 4 in this GT series, and cool. I hope Roman Grosjean will be there too. So we will see who's better, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so obviously we know you most from what you've done this evening in GT Pro and in rFactor 2, but you have quite a good relationship with the different platforms and different sims. You're one of those guys that is happy to enter most things.
Yeah, I've done a lot of Assetto Corsa 1 and won a couple of championships there. So yeah, but in ACC not so much. And rFactor 2 is just my main sim. I like it the most. Yeah.
You were in the SRO Esports though.
I was actually. I qualified for the finals, and like 5 minutes before the race, I just couldn't connect to the server. So yeah, I was pretty much out. Yeah.
That's annoying. But you know, do you feel like by having that pace in all the different sims, it makes you more of a complete driver, or does it compromise the ability to just focus on one single discipline?
I tried that doing it in multiple sims, but it's not really easy. I mean, if you have a race, let's say next week in ACC, it's not enough to start today. 1 week is just not enough to get used to the sim and prepare a setup, perform well. It's just no way. There's no way. I mean, there is one guy who I know who can do that, and that's Hany Alsabti. This guy can jump in any sim and do well, but that's just yeah.
And what are the differences between them in the way that they feel, in the way that they handle? For somebody who's watching this evening and is trying to get involved, what feels different in what way?
Well, if I compare Assetto Corsa to rFactor 2, pretty much driving on the limit. I mean, rFactor 2 allows a bit more of slip, while Assetto Corsa doesn't allow that. So you gotta be perfectly smooth in Assetto Corsa, while in rFactor 2, especially in qualifying, you can be a bit more aggressive. Some power slides, like a bit of slip. You can get away with it and be fast. And then there is the force feedback. I mean, yeah, the force feedback is huge. I'm using a Simo Cube 2. And there's other single sim on the market that come close to rFactor 2 force feedback wise. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. And what about iRacing and say Race Room, if you've got any experience with that? How do they factor into it?
My experience with iRacing is pretty much limited. But I have teammates that do iRacing only, and they are happy with the force feedback and the way it drives. But I think you got to learn how to drive a particular sim. So if you're used to iRacing and you jump to rFactor 2, it feels like a drift game.
Yeah.
And the other way around, iRacing feels like very limited. Can't push. Doesn't allow me to push. So it's just what you're used to. And when you start, I mean, if for a newcomer, if he starts with iRacing will be like spot on.
Yeah, yeah.
But for real races, I think for them it's easier to come into rFactor 2, start with rFactor 2 instead of iRacing, because you can play around on the limit in rFactor 2.
Awesome. Yeah. Great. That's great advice. That's great advice for everybody watching who wants to get involved and wants a certain feel. On the VCO Esports Studio show over lockdown period, we did a little feature called Show Us Your Rig. I think you've got, are you holding your camera?
I am holding my camera, yeah.
Are you able to show us where and how you drive? Yes.
Give me a minute.
There's his armpit. Sorry, I gave you no pre-warning to this.
Yeah,
I thought
no problem.
We might as well. Okay, so we've got a triple screen going on. As you say, SimCube.
As you can see, SimLab rig.
Okay.
Triple screen. And then Predator screens with Predator PC. I don't know if can you see it?
Yeah.
And I have let me see. Can you see that?
Yeah, the pedals.
Yeah, the pedals. The Husingfeld pedals, sprint pedals.
Nice.
So, and of course, the Simo Cube 2
okay, so
wheelbase.
That's a pretty high-end setup then. You feel that's
pretty high-end.
That's
I think it's the best of the best. You can't really buy much better than this anyway.
No. But do you think it's needed to perform at the pace that you are?
Not necessarily. I know guys that have like a G27 with standard G27 pedals, and they are just as fast as me. I would say good pedals will make you a bit more consistent, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's really cool to see. Thank you for doing that. Hany, now you're standing up. I'm not going to get you to sit down again. So we'll say goodbye and congratulations on your feature race win. Ambitions for the season? Do you reckon you can walk away with the main trophy?
The goal is to finish in the top 3 for the main race, but it's going to be tough. But I need to be clean in the races, and that will allow me to score good points.
Well, congratulations around Sebring, and I think the next race is Portland, which is an interesting one. So enjoy the practice there.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much to Hany Alsabti, who joins us, having won the feature race of the GT Pro racing on rFactor 2 this evening, the second season, the first round of that second season, every Monday evening from 8 o'clock until, well, it was about 9:30 by the time they finished. And of course, partnering with VCO, and therefore we, as our studio show, will be either before or after each event to bring you all the news from the weekend. And then in between weeks, we'll also always have our VCO Esports Studio talking to the very best sim and real world racers about this fascinating and intricate world of esports racing. There is the Formula One, which is not necessarily esports racing, but we won't start that now. It's too late. Kicking off on Wednesday and Thursday. And so plenty to look out for. One last bit of notage, though. Congratulations to Sebastian Job, who became iRacing World Champion in the Porsche Super Cup last Saturday. Thumbs up to all our friends there at Red Bull Esports. But Great one to Hany Alsabti, who took victory this evening for Romain Grosjean Esports. I hope I didn't insult Romain Grosjean too much over the broadcast, and it's probably time for me to stop talking and say good night. See you later on.